And welcome to a brand new episode of the Comic Call. I'm your host, Dylan Lang. This is my third video of the day, but in actuality, I started about 12:15. I've only been going on for 2 hours, so this one shouldn't be any longer than that, and it'll be just like the length of a regular one of my shows. So you missed my regular show, Dylan Knows, and then my Oscar picks, and now we have the Comic Call. This week is kind of underwhelming, not a lot of really exciting stuff. There's some good stuff, but nothing really extraordinarily exciting. The one interesting thing about it was I had to get my comics a day late because on Wednesday we were hit with a 6 to 8 inch snowstorm, which closed down basically all the comic stores in my area. So I had to wait till Thursday to get my new comics, but here's this week's haul. As I said, kind of underwhelming, nothing really jumping out at me about, there's some good books in there, as I said, but nothing that's really like, yeah, I got to read this right away. So first up, I loved the first issue of this book, Naomi number 2. This is something that's a little bit different, and coming from Brian Michael Bendis makes a lot of sense. But it's about a young girl out in Portland, Oregon, who discovers that she might be a little bit more than she thinks she might be, but it's more of a, there's really no superheroes in it, and it's just more of an examination of a young girl's life and trying to find an identity in her life. So it's got wonderful artwork by Jamal Campbell, but Brian Michael Bendis writes it with David F. Walker, and Jamal Campbell is the artist, and he is phenomenal. Just the beautiful, beautiful designs, fits Bendis's style perfectly. A good look at adoption and how you don't have mean adopted parents, but good adopted parents. Just really nice. Just about a young girl trying to find herself, that type of thing. So just really kind of a cool story. I like the first issue a lot, and I'm looking to read the second one. If you need to pick something that you haven't picked up before, pick up the first issue of that. That should be on the racks that are for books from previous months. There's a few stores that keep up about 2 or 3 months worth of stuff up on their shelves before they set it the back issue bins. Highly recommend picking up Naomi number 1 and get number 2, which just came out this week. Also, we have Kelly Sue DeConnick's new issue of Aquaman number 45, continuing her run with art by Robson Roca and inks by Daniel Henriquez. So Aquaman was a huge hit in movie theaters, and so Kelly Sue DeConnick has taken over the story and is crafting an interesting story. This book seems to be a lot of double-page spreads by Robson Roca, but the artwork looks pretty nice, and Kelly Sue DeConnick knows what she's doing. Next up, I like this variant cover, so I picked it up. It's Catwoman number 8, a variant cover of Catwoman. Variant cover by Tony Daniel. This is written by Joelle Jones with art by Elena Casagrande and Fernando Blanco. Good artwork, and Catwoman's series written by Joelle Jones has been fairly interesting, though I'm not sure I really like her new arch nemesis, but what can you do? Usually Batman would be at the top of the list, but Joshua Williamson's writing a set of story crossover with The Flash called The Price. This cover just kind of, I'm not a really big fan of it. But it's written by Joshua Williamson with art by Guillaume March. The problem is, Tom King is in the middle of a specific story arc he's trying to tell, and particularly he's in the middle of a nightmare storyline where he is detailing what's going on, psychological torture of Batman. And this 2-parter of Batman 64 and 65 pops up to ruin the flow a little bit. But Joshua Williamson wanted to do it, so whatever, I guess. But as I said, not that excited about it. Just can't wait the next issue. Tom King is back on and is continuing his nightmare story. So looking forward to that. Justice League number 18. Scott Snyder and James Tynion IV have been doing this occasionally. They pop an issue where it just focuses on the Legion of Doom, which is the current big bad that's going up against the Justice League. So the whole issue focuses on them. Most of the time it's written by James Tynion IV. This one was as well, written by art by Pascal Ferry, and continuing the Snyder, Tynion, Williamson deceleration of the DC universe, changing it all up and building to something huge. Meh. That's it for DC. For Marvel, we have Doctor Strange number 11, Mark Waid, Jesus Saez, with Javier Pina. Nice artwork, fight between Doctor Strange and Dormammu. Just been kind of again, sort of an storyline, and we get into a Galactus story next issue, so I'll probably keep up with that a little bit. This might be my last issue of this, Guardians of the Galaxy number 2, but I wanted to pick it up. It follows the new Guardians of the Galaxy. It's written by Donny Cates with art by Jeff Shaw, and focuses on them, and they're getting to know each other and become a new team as they take on Hela. I guess it's okay. I mean, I'll read it eventually, but it's not one that is sort of underwhelming to me, and I think that's probably be the last issue I'm going to get. I like Tom Taylor, but Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man number 3, newest issue out like this, has been very underwhelming for me. I'm not the biggest fan of it. Art by Juan Cabal. Tom Taylor's got a big DC story coming out soon called Deceased, which might be a little bit more interesting than this first story arc of Spider-Man. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man just been kind of meh to me. So I just hope Tom Taylor gets a little bit more interesting, or I might be dropping this one as well. So we'll see. Again, probably last issue I'm going to pick up with this too. Black Widow number 2. Jen and Sylvia Soska with art by Flaviano. Just not quite what I'm looking for, I guess. And looks okay, but not intriguing to me enough to show much interest in it. As I said, that's why I feel kind of meh about the comics this week. That's it for Marvel. From Independence, Mark Millar is continuing his team up with Netflix with his new series, Sharky the Bounty Hunter, with written by Mark Millar with art by Simone Bianchi. Futuristic bodyguard and outer space, robots, killings, violence, your typical Mark Millar stuff. A little bit of nudity in it as well. Sort of like if Lobo was an independent comic. Middle West, which is a pretty good series. Issue number 4 is out. Scotty Young and Jorge Corona continuing their exploration of a bizarre central of the United States with intriguing artwork. Turok number 2, written by Ron Mars with art by Roberto Castro. Turok, everybody loves Turok from video games, and he's done a few things for Valiant, but now he's owned by Dynamite. You got Ron Mars writing him again. I've always liked Ron Mars' stuff. So you got dinosaurs, you've got Indians, and you've got cowboys, and that's all you got. Finally, we have, I think this is the last issue of The Lone Ranger, written by Mark Russell, finishing up his story arc with art by Bob Q. I don't know if they're going to do another one or if these are just a bunch of mini-series, but this has been an interesting series. Mark Russell's one of those interesting writers, and we'll see what happens with that. That's it for this week. I haven't really had a chance to look at next week's stuff because I've been off site, so I haven't really had a chance to look at my computer, so I don't know what exciting is coming out next week. So, as I said, it's sort of like a meh week for me, and we'll see how next week looks for me. I know The Flash will be finishing up their crossover with Batman, so hooray! It's also the last month of the year. It's the last week of the month, so probably not as much interesting things as well. So we'll see what happens. That's all I got. Thanks for watching, and go to your local comic book store and buy stuff.